Hello vinyl freaks, it's the Danish record hunter here, and today I will tell you about another compilation album, but this one is a bit different because the album I talked about last week, it was about up and coming artists that won a competition arranged by like a music paper at the time, and one had a song on the compilation. And most of it I really think is mediocre, and then there's some highlights that really shines on this one. So the compilation I'm gonna talk about today, it's one that focuses mainly only on bands from the two southern islands in the south of Denmark, that is called Lolland and Falster. And the record is called Varme Roer, which means actually warm beats, like and especially also in Lolland. I know there is like a sugar factory, but I don't know if it's really working anymore, if it's still in motion. But definitely the sugar factory in Nykøbing Falster, which is on Falster, it's still there. And every winter when you go into like November, something in that time of the year, you can smell the factory on the whole island of Falster. And now that it's a sugar factory, you may think, it's the smell of like a burnt sugar in the air. No, it's not. It's sometimes the smell is so unbearable that, if I remember correctly, sometimes it could smell like gorgonzola. Well, now we're speaking. So, but every time I smell the sugar factory in Nykøbing Falster, it's good for me. When I think about my childhood, I always thought, now it's soon Christmas. I'm gonna have presents. It's obvious that this record is called like Varme Roer, warm beats, because look at each song on this as being like a warm sugar beat, and actually, I was mentioning my childhood in Falster. I lived there for like 7 years of my childhood, actually more than that, because when my parents they divorced, I went on weekend visits before that and also after that. So Falster has been very close to me, and when I listen to this record, I will talk more about the music and all that. But when I listen to it, it's the sound of nostalgia. Not that I discovered this record while I was living there. It's much later. But then I listen to this, and the things that I'm thinking about when I'm spinning this, it's the freedom of my childhood. It's it's just the nature. I think that one of the best places you can grow up in Denmark, then one of the places must be Falster for me. That was just perfect where I was living. I was living in the northeast of Falster, in a village called Breininge. And actually, I went to school in another village called Horbelev. And I will get to that, but the funny thing about Horbelev, if you try and translate the name of the village to English, now the first 3 letters of the word is like that means pretty much adultery. Hoa. There's another village that is called Horby. Now, if you erase one of the R's in Horby, then it means whore city. And I remember as a kid, I would ask, why is it called Horby? It's because all the lads from Karleby, they went there and shagged all the girls. Now, enough with all the jokes. Let's get to the album. As you can see here, the album cover, it's like drawings of several of the band members from the bands that is featured here on the record. And they are all marching up to Copenhagen. You see the Copenhagen sign here. And I think it was really because, the groups that was, performing and starting up in this region of Denmark, they were not really recognized. And I think when they put out a record like this, it was to put some light on those groups, so they also may have had a bigger chance maybe to go to Copenhagen and play there. I don't know, but I really like the cover, and I have to say that this is also a private press, so it's a bit rare in Denmark, but it's not super expensive. But it's not every day you see it. But if you see it, I can only tell you, buy it, because there's some really, really good music on here. The music was actually recorded in late 1979, and it was put out in April of 1980, so it's not even a 70s record, but the music here was definitely, it was written and it was performed and recorded and produced in the late 70s. The sound, however, it's not like the 80s at all. You could actually say that this is very, very dated in its sound, because it actually sounds like some dusty Psych music from between 1969 and 1972. It sounds very outdated, but in a good way, because when you listen to this, it's just it's raw and it's straight to the point, and the production, it's very low budget, and has this dusty feel, like it's a time period that is captured and put on vinyl, a period in time that is just forgotten about, and it's not well documented at all. Even though this was put out in 1980, I don't see a lot of information about this online. But the sound here is, you wouldn't believe that this was actually recorded so late in the 70s. This sounds so much older. So the thing was, there was a festival in Falster. It was actually in Nykøbing Falster Theater, where they actually had a festival with groups, and the festival was called Varme Roer. So as I can read, the festival happened, and then shortly afterwards, in April of 1980, the record here was put out. But anyway, before we get to talk about the music, I just want to tell you that I actually went to Falster just last week. We were going to this hippie festival that is called Kun for Forrygte, and there my wife and I, we saw Glenn Hughes. Even this small festival, they could attract such a personality. So we saw Glenn Hughes there, and a couple other groups like Young Flowers. That was definitely the highlight for me. So Young Flowers is one of the oldest psychedelic rock groups that we have in Denmark. Damn, still rocking, and they're pushing their 80s. I actually think, could Peter Ingemann be 80 or something? They were really doing a great job, and my video cannot even do it justice. The sound was heavy. If you had them playing at a stoner rock festival today, I think they could still have the ability to blow a lot of other groups off the stage. They were amazing. Anyway, I also went and I filmed a little bit of my favorite areas in northeast of Falster. So later on in the video, I will show some videos combined with the music. But let's get to the music of this phenomenal compilation album that means so much to me, that if I have to pick 10 Danish rock albums to bring on a deserted island, then this one would be there too. This is just a really perfect opener for this record. I really like the melodies that is heard in this track. It's just very cool psych rocker, and you know, I really like this one. Of course, it's sung in Danish, and actually none of the bands on this compilation, of what I know, they didn't release anything physical other than this compilation album. But this band, you know, the track is called Psykolade, and the band is called, I think it's called Kuano or Quano, something like that. I don't know how the band themselves they would pronounce it, but what I know is that they changed their name in the 80s and they put out a 7-inch. I tried to look for the 7-inch on Discogs, but it doesn't seem like it's there at all, so it's kind of obscure. Here we have the track that is called Guldbegær, which is by Molly. So this is like kind of laid back jazz rock. It's I really like this one too. Just something about the melodies there on this compilation that just like brings me in this feeling of just being in peace, you know. I really like this track a lot, and also the guitar work. It's very smooth and it's cool.
She was a cold girl in Copenhagen. When she gets mad, she paints them blue.
So here we have this song that's called Call Girl by Sun People. Actually, the first times I heard it, I thought she was singing like a poor girl in Copenhagen, but it's actually a call girl in Copenhagen. It's a song that actually has grown on me. In the beginning, I was not really fond of it, but it has this country rock feel to it. But what really, you know, what I like about this track a lot is it has some, you know, psych guitar. That really, you know, it's cool, you know, it's kind of a psych rocker, but it's not something you think the first, you know, minute or so into the song. It's first when the soloing is there, and then I'm thinking, wow, I really like this sound. You know, not a lot of bands so late in the 70s produced like a guitar sound like that. That to me is just like, you know, the late 60s kind of a guitar sound right there. What a weird name, 3132, and the song's called Jazzin'. Now, this one has kind of the Doors feel to it. I remember listening to like live versions of Light My Fire when they are jamming out in like 20 plus minutes, and you know, some of the jamming they would do on Light My Fire reminds me of this track a lot, which is also an instrumental, but it's more like psychedelic. I really think this one is cool too. This one I really like, you know. To Snælda with the song Sammen og Alene. This one is like heavier in its feel. It sounds like a lighter Black Sabbath, but I'm not comparing this like really to Black Sabbath, you know. But it has this lighter feel, but there's also like kind of doom looming like in the bottom of the song. But I really like the you know, just the groove of the song. It has this kind of a retro feel to it that lots of newer bands today, they want to kind of make a sound like this in the studio. But I think they are not, you know, not all of them are able to actually manage making that sound or getting that sound in the studio. But this one is the real deal for me. This just sounds like a dusty old like Psych track. I feel like when I'm listening to this, I feel like I could be driving in a desert, you know. Has this kind of feel to it. Really like it. That brings us to the next track, which is called Robinson Crusoe, which is like kind of an ambient track by the artist who is called Johan Wessinger. I tried to check his like what he's been doing on Discogs. Didn't find anything there, but then I bought a record from the 80s, like a Danish symphonic, like progressive record, and it's called Saragon, I think it's pronounced, and his name is found here, Johan Wessinger. I don't know exactly what he did here, but he had a hand in making this record. But it's like, it's kind of an eerie ambient track that really sends chills down my spine when I listen to it. And I actually think, because I filmed some of my favorite places in Northeast Falster where I was living. Like one of the places, it's the beach that's called Hesnes, where, you know, I've spent so much time there, and there's such a great view to the Baltic Sea. And the other place that I filmed, it's a forest that is called Halskov Vinge, and that forest, to me, it felt like it was an extension to my back garden at the time, even though there was like 20 minutes walking, but it was just like 20 minutes walking through the fields and then you would be in the forest. So before we listen to the track and I show you the videos, I just want to tell you that going to Halskov Vinge, that was like one of the best playgrounds of my childhood. I would go there with my friends and we would scare the hell out of each other, because that forest, it has a lot of burial mounds, which is like over 5,500 years old, but it's preserved, the old stones, you know, and like there's been tombs there and everything. Actually, growing up, I was told by a clairvoyant who visited our house that there was lots of spirits in our area, because they all those years ago they would bring all the dead people through the area where we were living to the forest and bury them there. So I just remember being in that forest and we would tell each other, you know, ghost stories and just like really, you know, it's good memories. And this forest means a lot to me. And I had been a couple years since I was there last time, but I went there last week and it was a joy seeing it all again and how nothing has changed. That's beautiful to see. So let's listen to the track Robinson Crusoe, and then meanwhile you can also see the pictures that I filmed from when I visited the beach and the forest. that troll, huh? It's been up there for how many years? Been looking down all this time, and he's covered in spider's web and everything, you know. Remember the first time I went into that museum, it really scared the shit out of me, especially like the dead man underneath the burial mound. That to me just scared the hell out of me. Thought it was a real dead man. But I just find really, you know, some kind of peace to go there. It's so long between I go there nowadays, but it was really a good experience for me. So now you've seen a little bit of what I really liked from growing up, and it was like those areas. That's, you know, the nature meant a lot to me back then. Now I'm living in concrete.
Hver morgen når jeg vågner, så har jeg et problem. Min dyne bliver løftet op, så man kan se på mine ben. Jeg drikker mange bajer, for jeg er en tørstig sjæl. Mit land, det ligner telefonpæl. Vandpæl. Ja, jeg har vandpæl. Ja, jeg har vandpæl.
That brought us to the B-side with the track that is called Skøn Tid by Canary Row, and this one is just like a fun stoned rocker. I really like this one as well, and the lyrics, they're funny. They pretty much talk about the issues a man has after been drinking a lot. But it's a cool song, and I heard that this one became kind of an anthem for the festival Varme Roer. There's a line where the guy he sings, "I have diarrhea," and you know, I think people thought that was funny, and so in some kind of way that became like the anthem of the festival. I have diarrhea. Here we have like another jazzy instrumental, a track called Sweden by Cheek to Cheek. I really like this one too. Laid back, dreamy, you know. It's a cool addition to the album, which is kind of showcasing some different styles. But I like that the jazz is getting there again and again, and I really like the playing on all of it.
Dry all the tears away. Dry all the tears away.
So here we have Thunderbirds with Dry All Your Tears Away. So this one, you know, is back to the rock section of the album. It's a cool one. You know, it's probably the loudest track on the album. You know, it's cool. I love the harmonized guitars in there, and it's just straightforward, straight rock. You know, it's cool. That brought us to Stærkt Nok by Danish, and this track, it's more like progressive and experimental in its feel. It has a woman singing in the band, actually reminds me of another group in Denmark, which was like a woman-based band in the beginning, and it was called Hosanna. It had some of the same feel because both of them were kind of like progressive. But this one is very cool, has a completely different sound on this record. I really like it.
From the first time I saw you, I've tried so much I could do to get your, oh baby, to get your little lady. But you're lost, you're lost, you're lost, you're lost, you're lost, you're lost. You're really lost on my mind. But now I know that you're not a sweet girl. There's many other pretty women in the world. Yeah, I know that you're not a sweet girl. There's many other pretty women in the world. In the world.
Then we have Lost Woman by Missing Link. So this one, I think it's like the heaviest track of the album. It sounds like a kind of a murky Deep Purple ripoff with some heavy accented English vocals. This is like really, you know, what you would call Danglish, or Valby English, as we say, Valby English, you know. So that brings us to the last track of the record. And I have a hard time pronouncing this because the band, they are, I think you pronounce it as in English, Beetlejuice. So it's the second brightest star in the sky. That's the name of that, like, and also the track is called Midnight. However, this is like another jazzy instrumental, and this one has more like a mysterious, complex feel to it. And just ends the album in a very good way, I think. So before ending my video, let me just tell you how much I love this record, and you know, this has become like, whenever I want to feel happy, I will listen to this. It just brings the happiness out in me, and it's just so cool, and I hope you will like it as well, either Danish or not. There's some cool music here on this one, and it's like the sounds of a forgotten time that is like hidden in this. It has this old feel to it, like you're an archaeologist and you are digging out sounds from forgotten eras, in this case Danish rock music. And I think that's what you hear here. It's such a cool item to have in your collection, I think, especially if you're Danish, and also if you have some kind of connection to the two islands, Lolland and Falster, then this is really special to have as well. Just so cool. So let me end my video by saying thanks for watching. I hope you will continue watching my other videos. I will make sure to bring out some more to you. So please take care. Peace out.